Yo, what's cooking, good looking?
Nigga, you gay.
Let's talk about the DCEU, a cinematic universe that started with so much promise, but ended up fumbling the bag hard. It kicked off strong, but thanks to a bunch of bad calls and meddling from the corporate suits sniffing their own farts, it never reached the heights it was meant to. So let's break down what happened, where things went wrong, and why I honestly believe it could have been more successful than the MCU. After seeing how big the MCU was getting, Warner Bros. Decided they wanted their own shared superhero universe.
I need money.
That journey began in 2013 with Man of Steel.
We always have potential, I'm just cashing in my chips. Melly Mike just like Steph, yeah, cause he don't miss.
It was a very solid start, nearly 700 million at the box office. For comparison, Iron Man pulled in around $600 million. But instead of being happy, Warner Bros. Expected even more because of the name Superman. To me, that's not surprising though. Superman's popularity with the general public was never that big. Unlike Batman, who's universally loved, a lot of people see Superman as boring, me included. All the previous movies are way too boring in my opinion.
Wow.
Especially if you compare them with the comic books, who weren't afraid to go big. And Superman Return is still a fairly recent movie. Yes, the movie where Superman doesn't throw a single punch. So it's easy to see why some folks weren't as hyped as Warner Bros. Hoped. That's why Man of Steel was so refreshing to me. It gave us an action-packed Superman that actually felt powerful, but at the same time, human. The fights were destructive, the emotions hit hard, and it painted Superman in a way that felt epic and memorable. If you remove the useless and frankly blasphemous religious symbolism, it would be a masterpiece. But the studio wasn't feeling the audience reception it got. Some fans were upset about the darker tone, and especially the ending where Superman kills.
First thing I want to do when you say that.
The thing is, the movie dropped during peak MCU hype, so comparisons were inevitable. Audiences were used to the MCU's cringe humor.
The question I get asked most often is, Tony, how do you go to the bathroom in the suit? Just like that.
And when a superhero movie came in with a more serious, thoughtful approach, a lot of people just didn't vibe with it. They wanted popcorn fun, not something serious that would challenge them. I think that the movie was just unlucky to release at that point in time. If Man of Steel dropped today, in this era of superhero fatigue, I'm convinced it'd be way more appreciated. It aged like fine wine. The visuals are still stunning 12 years later. The action scenes became iconic. And the Hans Zimmer score? Legendary. This is where Warner Bros. Made their first big mistake. Instead of building on this new version of Superman and give us Man of Steel 2, they panicked and jumped straight into a crossover movie.
A pack of fools! Every last one of you!
They were in such a rush to get to Justice League, and it cost them. Big time. Man of Steel 2 got scrapped and replaced by Batman v Superman. Zack Snyder originally wanted to bring Batman, sure, that was his idea. But adding Wonder Woman, Doomsday, and the Justice League cameos, that was all studio interference. The original villain was supposed to be Metallo, which made more sense. Even with all that meddling from the cockroaches in suits, the movie still miraculously turned out as a powerful piece of art.
I don't get my energy to nobody except my clique. Yeah, I just spent a couple bands eating good on a dish. They don't say congratulations, but you know they watch that shit.
I'll die on this hill. Batman v Superman is wildly underrated. It's packed with some of the best scenes in any superhero movie, like the insane opening scene, the Mad Max dream sequence, the Arkham-style warehouse fight, and of course the main event, Batman vs Superman.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
People still rewatch those clips on YouTube years later, but people clowned on it because they didn't get it, and they still clown on it to this day. So, I gotta clear up the infamous Martha scene before we can move on. Superman's down. He's weakened from kryptonite. Imagine you're trying to plead for someone else's life while you're drugged out of your mind. He couldn't say, "Save my mother," because that risks revealing his identity and putting her also in danger. Because, you know, Batman is a dangerous dude.
He thinks he's above the law.
So in that state of panic, he just says, "Save Martha." Batman, thinking it's a trick, freezes for a second. That name hits a nerve, because it's also the same as his mother. That second of hesitation is what allowed Lois to rush in, and with better judgment, she explained that Superman is talking about his mom. Something clicks. Suddenly, this alien threat isn't some godlike being that he can't understand. He's just a terrified guy, pleading for his mom's life, just like he was himself when he was a kid in that alley. Batman realizes he's about to do the same thing that was done to him years ago. He went full circle and became the villain he swore to protect the people from. So it's not LOL, same name. It's about empathy, about recognizing the humanity in the other.
I make you a promise. Martha won't die tonight.
It's at that moment that you understand that BVS is a second origin story to Batman. He becomes once again the hero he forgot he was.
How many good guys are left? How many stayed that way?
Man is still good.
And Superman is the one who helps him get out of darkness for the second time. It's tragic, it's poetic.
But the people are retarded.
Now, is the movie perfect? Nah, it's got its weird parts. Lex Luthor pissing on jars. Or again the cringe deification of Superman, all of that sucks. But you should give the Ultimate Edition a go, it's a massive improvement. Warner Bros. Cut out key scenes from the theatrical release, which made the story more confusing than it should. The extended cut also flows way better, despite being longer. Anyway, BVS still made nearly $900 million. But again, Warner Bros. Weren't satisfied. Yes! They wanted Avengers money right away. That greed led to more studio interference with Suicide Squad and Justice League.
We're going to the swirling ring of trash in the sky.
Suicide Squad was supposed to be a gritty, character-driven story about misfits.
What, we some kind of Suicide Squad?
Instead, Warner's panicked, brought back the team that made the flashy trailer to edit the whole movie, and the final result, a complete disaster of a Frankenstein movie.
This is Katana. She's got my back. Her sword traps the souls of its victims.
Okay. Today, that movie is kind of a guilty pleasure to me, cause it's so bad. It starts to become good in a way. Even so, it made $750 million, so at least it was a financial success. Finally, Wonder Woman broke the streak. Despite Gal Gadot being one of the worst actresses,
I need you to give me the stone.
I couldn't understand what that was saying.
and an even worse human being,
You're evil, aren't you? They are so fucking onto us!
Calm yourself.
it still crushed at the box office, over $800 million. And for the first time in the DCEU, it also got love from both critics and fans. But even that success almost didn't happen. The studio execs wanted to cut the No Man Land scene, by far the best scene in the movie. Thankfully, the director fought to keep it, and it became one of the most iconic scenes in superhero films. They are also the ones who wanted that final fight at the end, which destroys the moral of the story. What all of this shows is simple. When suits start to meddle with the creative process, things fall apart. Their obsession with profit and public perception is ironically what is leading them to failure. They got too impatient, and nowhere is that failure clearer than in how they butchered what should have been their magnus opus, Justice League. After endless studio meddling and the heartbreaking personal tragedy that led Zack Snyder to step away from production, Warner Bros. Brought in another director to finish Justice League and reshape it into something more fun like Marvel. Enter the man, the myth, the legend, Joss Whedon. This was what the people asked for, right? They wanted Marvel-style humor, so they got it. So much so, they even recycled the same jokes. It didn't work before, it still doesn't. This version became, hands down, the worst film in the entire DCEU lineup.
I believe in truth, but I'm also a big fan of justice.
Nothing landed. The CGI looked like PS2 cutscenes. The character arcs were trash. The humor was horrible.
Yeah. Oh, something is definitely bleeding.
The color grading, vomit. The plot only makes sense if you throw your brain out the window. An absolute train wreck.
Kal-El, no! Kal-El, no!
Seriously, in what universe does a movie combining all your most iconic heroes result in your lowest box office number yet? This movie did so bad that if another movie comes out with the title Justice League in the new rebooted universe, I don't think they would be hyped for that project anymore. It destroyed the name.
I wanna die.
After that, the DCU was on life support, with each new movie making less money and less money. With the one big exception that is Aquaman. If you had told me that in the 16 DCEU movies, Aquaman would be the only one to cross the $1 billion mark at the box office, I would have told you,
Go fuck another fish, asshole!
the movie was cool, yeah, but I didn't get the feeling it was more hype than something like Batman v Superman before launch. Apparently, and I don't know why, it was a massive hit in China. Maybe watching it gave lots of social credit points, I don't know. Aquaman kept the DCU floating for a while, but it just slowed down the process. Shazam, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 1984, all underperformed. They weren't good movies, but that didn't stop the MCU from thriving, you know. This was more that the audience's interest in this universe was crashing down at rapid speed. And even the rare good movies like The Suicide Squad failed massively at the box office. The DCU was dying, and before it got buried for good, came in a savior, The Rock. Swinging in like a last-minute hero. The hierarchy of power in the DC universe was about to change forever.
Things will never be the same, because the hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change.
Or not. His Black Adam flopped too.
I'm so motherfucking gay.
Women gonna fuck though.
At that point, it was obvious the general audience had lost all interest in the DC universe.
You're so tiresome!
The newer films were bad, especially compared to the early DCEU. There was no real narrative connection between them. No vision, no plan. Just a bunch of standalone films that were mid at best.
Mid.
By the time The Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman 2 came out, it was over. Those movies were already too far in production to be cancelled, so they released them, but no one cared about those projects. I didn't even watch the last two, and most likely, neither did you. And that's how the DCEU died. In the end, it wasn't the characters or the directors. The failure lies with the people calling the shots behind the curtain. Those who got greedy, chasing trends, and reacting to backlash instead of trusting their creators. Weird how when you ignore artistic integrity and meddle with your artists, the whole thing fails.
Weird.
What's weird is that at the same time the DCEU was getting flushed into the gutter, the standalone movies in their own universes like the Batman and Joker were killing it at the box office. I almost wish Warners would just stick to these kinds of artistic and self-contained movies, because this whole connected universe business nowadays feels like a recipe for failure, if I'm being honest.
We're doomed!
And while all of that was happening, some DC fans never gave up hope. They rallied hard, pushing to see the real Justice League, the one Zack Snyder had created. And after years of pressure, Warner Bros. Finally cracked, and for once gave the people what they actually asked. And it was beautiful, man. In 2021, Zack Snyder's Justice League finally dropped on HBO Max in a massive 4-hour format, and it delivered. Big time!
I ain't even gonna get mad. I'm young, black and rich. She tryna
not just as a win for the fans who fought for it, but as a full-blown success for the platform itself. Critics praised it, audiences embraced it, and it proved one thing loud and clear. If Warner Bros. Hadn't panicked and interfered, this movie could have been a massive hit in the cinema. Sure, the theatrical release wouldn't have been 4 hours long, yeah, but a streamlined 3-hour version, totally doable, and it would have crushed. This movie is a work of art. The cinematography alone puts it leagues above the Justice League. It's moody, atmospheric, and in sync with the tone set in Man of Steel and BVS. If only people had patience to see where things were going, because now we can clearly see the vision at play. It's a cohesive trilogy. It's film, picking up where the last one left off, but from a new perspective, pushing the story and its characters forward with real purpose. I love how seriously this movie takes itself. As it should. The literal fate of the world is on the line. There's no room for one-liners or forced jokes every 2 minutes. The tone matches the stakes, and that's what makes it hit so hard. At some point the heroes even lose. I had goosebumps. The action is epic. The set pieces are massive and meaningful. The music, both emotional and straight up badass. But most importantly, the characters actually make sense now. Especially Cyborg, who went from being a background prop in the theatrical cut to becoming the heart of this movie. Again, in the name of criticism, it's not a movie without its faults. There are some things I hate about it, a lot. But overall, I really love Zack Snyder's Justice League. How the studio looked at these scenes and still chose to release the Whedon version instead, I'll never understand.
Right. Okay, here's the thing. See, I'm afraid of bugs and guns and obnoxiously tall people.
Gal Gadot is still booty cheeks, but that's not something you can save with any amount of post-production.
In a few minutes, 4 city blocks.
But here's the heartbreaking part. We're never getting the ending of this story. Zack Snyder's Justice League was the last true great thing to come out of the DCEU, and Warner Bros. Has since hit the reset button with James Gunn's rebooted universe. I will make a review of the DCEU's Superman movie in the next video. I think it's worth talking about. It's a shame, because if Zack Snyder had been allowed to finish what he started, we could have had something truly exceptional. The plan was bold. 2 more Justice League films, and that's it. One where the heroes lose to Darkseid and Superman falls under his control, and the final chapter set in a post-apocalyptic world. Man, it would have been so cool. It would have ended with Batman sacrificing himself to redeem his actions in BVS, completing a full narrative circle. That's cinema. It would have been everything the MCU isn't. Marvel is built to never end. Infinite content, moving from phase to phase, each one feeding the next. It's like a capitalistic machine of infinite greed. But Snyder's vision for the DCEU had a finish line from the start. A definitive and epic conclusion. His plan was for there to be 5 main central films, with solo spin-off projects on the side, to get to know the different heroes better, but the Justice League movies would have been the centerpiece. We also would have gotten a Batfleck movie that was inspired by the Arkham Asylum game. Can you imagine how sick that would have been? No offense to the Batman, it's a good movie, but this sounds so much cooler. Warner Bros. Refused to be different and chose longevity over impact, and in doing so, they pushed Snyder out. Now, let's be very clear about that. I'm not a Zack Snyder fanboy. I think his hardcore fanbase are cringe and borderline psychotic. I'll also add that honestly, when he writes his own scripts, it's really not good.
Man, this shit whack, man.
But give him a solid script, and the man turns it into something beautiful.
That's what I'm talking about!
His DC films are prime examples of show, don't tell. There's symbolism and deeper meaning ingrained in so many scenes. If you pay attention, you realize it's cinematic poetry. At worst, if Warner Bros. Had let this vision play out, we would have had variety in the superhero movie genre. Marvel would do its thing, and DC would do a different thing. At best, we could have gotten one of the greatest cinematic sagas of all time. But we'll never know. And you know what? At the end of the day, these are just movies, just entertainment. Sometimes you just gotta learn how to take the L and move on with your life. And that, my friends, is why I call the DCEU a wasted potential.
We always have potential, I'm just cashing in my chips. Melly Mike just like Steph, yeah, cause he don't miss. I don't give my energy to nobody except my clique. Yeah, I just spent a couple bands eating good on a dish. They don't say congratulations, but you know they watch that shit. I ain't even gon' get mad, I'm young, black and rich. She tryna sell me lies,